Listen to me, motherfucker. I'm talking. I say horrible things sometimes because I think they're funny. My podcast is a verbal mosh pit because it's just me pinwheeling around. You don't know where the fuck I'm going to wind up, and I generally have no idea when it's going to end or start. I'm responsible for this whole goddamn thing. I want a little respect from you people. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. Folks, I think we're going to rob a bank. I think we are. I don't know if it makes sense to announce it on here, actually, now that I think about it. Perhaps this isn't the forum where I should broach this. I should have just robbed a bank and then kept it quiet, probably. But Lily and I are we're in dire straits, folks. We have no cash. What happened to us? We used to be beautiful, man. But yeah, Lily and I, she's telling me about the Monday Night Tease this week. She's like, oh my God, it was so great. I had such a great time. And I'm like, that's good. I don't have any money. Did I mention that? Like, no matter what she has, her good news is just overpowered by the fact that I'm broke. Oh, Jesus. And I will tell you, but being broke affects you people. That's right. You think that it doesn't? Being broke affects your listening enjoyment of this show because I don't do a fucking thing when I don't have any money. So the chances of me going out and punching a kid are completely diminished because I don't have any money to go out into public and see normal people doing the shitty things that make me angry. So that really scales back my reaction time, folks. So that's right, you suffer. So that I guess what I'm saying is donate to the show so I can go out and do wacky things and have more show to talk about. And then you'll donate more. See, this show's like an engine, folks. It's like a train. This show's like a train, and we're stopped. Right now, we're stopped on the tracks. We're in between stations. We're stuck between stations. We're the Hold Steady, folks. I think that's what I'm saying to you. We are the Hold Steady, and in order to make myself more like the Hold Steady, I'm going to mention Charlemagne 14 times during this podcast. I want to love the Hold Steady. I really do. But I listen to them, and then... You know what it is? They got better. I should put it that way. Because here's what I do. All right, this is why my ADD or OCD, again, I've got all the Ds. I don't know. Whatever it is, this is what affects my listening of the Hold Steady. I listen to the Hold Steady from beginning to end. When I'm sitting at the computer, the way I work it is because I have, again, 17,000 songs in my computer. So I can't just... I wish I had a playlist. Like, I don't make playlists, really. I made a couple of playlists. Like, when I went and saw Tool, I put their what their set list was as a playlist, and I'll listen to that all the time. That's actually my set when I'm landing in a plane. If I'm in a plane, oh, interesting. Lily has decided to scroll "fuck you" on her middle fingernail, a la Lindsay Lohan. Thank you for that. Why'd you do that so early in the show? You could have done it later, and then I would have had something to talk about then. But instead, you know what? You just put the Hold Steady off the tracks. You just put this train right off the goddamn tracks. Stuck between stations, now we've plummeted into a ravine thanks to you and your fuck you fingernail. Oh, Lohan. What are you doing, Lohan? How do you come to court with fuck you and your fingernail? Really? And I don't think she put it on there for the court date. I don't think she went and told 19 Koreans to write fuck you on her nail just before she went into court. That didn't happen. Because I don't even know if she can afford manicures at this point. She's got to blow guys for everything, right? Isn't she that chick? She is. Have you ever seen? I mean, Paris Hilton. You know what's funny? Paris Hilton wins. She completely wins no matter what. Because you've got Lindsay Lohan, you've got Kim Kardashian, you've got all these people. They have to do shit for their money. All right, they have to go to nightclub openings, and they have to go to Sky vodka parties, and they have to go to bullshit fashion shows and sit there and accidentally spread their legs and give a fucking beef shot to get photographs so everybody can see their roast beef in order to make extra cash. They have to show up at these openings. All right, these kind of chicks. Paris Hilton's got fuck you money, like serious. You know what? She does stuff. Okay. Just to have pocket cash. Like she had a television show for pocket cash just to put her name out there and her brand. But the thing is, she doesn't even have to put her name out there. She's Hilton. She's goddamn Hilton. That's not changing. That's like if you were if you were fucking Joe Marriott, you wouldn't have to do a fucking thing. You'd go out and dabble in sport fishing and motocross or whatever the fuck rich people do. I don't know what they do with their time other than spend money and laugh at me. And not in a good way like you guys are doing right now. I mean in a good way, in a bad way, like where they see me on the street and go, pish posh, that guy wants to rob a bank. Ha ha! God damn it, I got no money. Paris Hilton's got all the money, and she deserves, she was born into it. Again, lucky zygote, lucky sperm. That's who she is. And that's why she's got it all. She'll always have it over like Lindsay Lohan and Kim Kardashian and all these other fucking tramps because they have to go. Like Lindsay Lohan's an actress. She gets paid to be an actress. Well, if she doesn't get any acting roles, eventually, again, she's just blowing guys for vodka and stealing dresses and doing photo shoots and showing up late and getting mean things written about her. She's trying to convince you that a Scram bracelet is a fashion statement. Jesus Christ. Isn't this the second time she's had to wear a Scram bracelet? Because there is a fucking hot photograph of her in a bikini with a Scram bracelet from like 5 years ago. Like an electronic monitoring bracelet. It's like, dude, if you have to wear one the second time, if the guy who fits people for the electronic ankle monitoring actually has your sizes on file, you might want to slow your roll. Jesus Christ. What the fuck is wrong with you? Step back. Take a look at your life. Go rent the Parent Trap and go, God, I used to be cute. Remember when I used to have a job? Instead of crawling into a pack of parliaments and blowing everything that walks by? God damn it. Get a hold of your life. And now she's going to jail, and she's so sad. That courtroom thing, Karen's like, oh, she made me cry. And the thing is, there's no middle ground on Lindsay Lohan. And granted, maybe that's because all I read is the internet. I mean, I don't talk to... Of course, let's be honest, noted scholars aren't exactly commenting on fucking Lindsay Lohan. It's not like I'm sitting down with the McLaughlin group to get their opinions. I go to the internet because that's the only thing I can read. And in the internet, it's only, haha, Lindsay, you stupid bitch, or this is so ridiculous, we need to save this girl from herself, and why is jail an option? She needs to be helped. We need to go ahead and do everything we can to save her. That's it. That's the two polar opposite opinions. Nobody is in the middle who says... what I'm going to say right now, who fucking cares? You know what? Do me a favor. Go to jail and learn something, and when you come out, everything will be fine. And if not, if you die, again, John Ritter. That's the turning point of my life about worrying about small shit like that, John Ritter's funeral. Everybody freaked out of their minds. I actually drove by, saw them. Everybody's sad, and then 2 days later, nobody fucking cares. Everybody's like, hey, who's that guy from Three's Company? Jack Stripper? I don't fucking know. He's dead. That's it. Furley. Everybody, literally, he's not even the go-to guy now from Three's Company. If you go, hey, Three's Company, everybody goes, Suzanne Summers? No. Mr. Furley? No. I think people might even go Larry over John Ritter at this point. Nah, they don't. Regal Beagle? I'll bet people say Regal Beagle over John Ritter. All right. So I guess, you and your fuck you fingernail. Let's see what you did. You derailed me. What was I talking about? I had something going on. I thought for sure there was something. Huh? The Hold Steady. We were stuck between stations. Oh, the Hold Steady. All right. So this is the thing. My ADD, when I listen to iTunes, what I have to do is I sit there, and I don't have a playlist. Oh, I was talking about Tool. So yeah, when I saw Tool, I wrote their set list down, and then I made it a playlist on my computer, and then that is what whenever I'm in a plane and I'm landing, when they give the thing they're going to land, I listen to the Tool set list. That's what I do. So it's the last thing I listen to if I die, I guess. I don't even know. But it's awesome because it's the what they opened with, and all right, who cares? Nobody cares. But I'll tell you, it's fucking great to look out your window and see kind of a cloud line and sort of some sun, and then you're listening to the Tool. Oh, dude, it is genius. I have goosebumps right now just even thinking about it. Oh, Maynard. All right. So unfortunately, my ADD doesn't allow me to go. I don't make playlists because, again, I don't have time, folks. I have 17,000 songs, and inevitably I wind up listening to Carousel Alhambra by Led Zeppelin over and over. But you know why? Because it's 11 minutes long. And I go, well, cool, I won't have to choose a song for 11 minutes. Let me go ahead and listen to that. Or the Ghost song by The Doors, and I'll put it on repeat. And I listen to it over and over and over because it's fucking awesome. But because I want to listen to a mixture of music, but I also don't want to put it on shuffle because I have so much garbage in my iTunes. Like, I don't love every song because inevitably I'll be sitting there, I'll be like, all right, let's listen to some Zeppelin, and I'll put it on shuffle, and hey, what comes up next? Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la. Really? I had to hear the Banana Splits theme song right after Zeppelin? What the fuck? God damn, I got to uncheck mark some of these songs. What an idiot I am. Or I'll hear some dialogue snippet from fucking Clerks, and I'm like, oh, it's funny, but I mean, I don't want to come up with my music. I'm trying to write. If I'm trying to write and I'm trying to concentrate, the last thing I'm going to have is more fucking dialogue that comes up. God damn it. So the point is, when I listen to stuff, I will listen to long blocks of people, and I will listen to Zeppelin like from beginning to end. I don't... not chronologically. All right, this is sad. I don't have the albums. I did make a playlist of Zeppelin in order, from Zeppelin 1 all the way to the end of either Dakota or In Through the Outdoor. I don't remember which one it is, but every album all in order, so I can listen to them and I can listen to them evolve. Because then I go, all right, cool. I can listen to Zeppelin and that's fine, including the box set. I throw the box set in there even. So then it repeats songs, but I threw the box set in there even though the fucking box set, fuck Jimmy Page. All right, I like Jimmy Page, but Jimmy Page, you dick. Actually, and you know what? I saw him. Remember last year I saw him at the movie. I should have grabbed him and yelled at him. No, I shouldn't have. First of all, I found this out too. Do you know that Jimmy Page is like the biggest thief on the planet Earth? Zeppelin are the worst plagiarists in the history of music. That's not even a joke. Like they've been sued over the years. Dazed and Confused, they stole from a guy who opened for the Yardbirds. They just stole it. Just completely lifted it. Like not even, hey, we might like a chord of that. No, the entire thump, yank, ours. And then this guy has been trying to get paid since like 1978, and he hasn't been able to get any money. Meanwhile, Jimmy Page, he has to be worth, I mean, this is a moderate guess, $100 million. That's a moderate guess. He could be worth much more than that. Unless he gave it all to Satan already. I have no idea how. Isn't that his deal? He's got like a fucking suitcase with like a whip and a grouper and a devil head. I think that's how he runs it. Page shows up at your house. He's got a suitcase. And you're like, what's in the suitcase, Jimmy? Important papers? And he goes, nope. He clink, that little briefcase noise. Hello, whip. Hello, here's a mud shark. And, oh, by the way, here's the devil's head. I have that. It was a deal that I made a long time ago so I could steal Dazed and Confused and not pay the folk singer who's eating dirt and air, trying to figure out why he can't get any money, listening to his song every 15 minutes on classic rock radio. How horrible would that be? And not just that guy. They raped 1 million people. There's a website dedicated to all of the things that Led Zeppelin has stolen. It's crazy. So if I get a moment of Jimmy Page's time, I wouldn't even care. Quite frankly, I like the music, and fuck you, small artist. But take that. If you couldn't find a good enough lawyer to get you some money out of Dazed and Confused, and that's what I want to know is how bad were the laws in England, or how broke was this guy that he couldn't get a fucking lawyer to help him? Because it's blatant. This website has a recording of the guy doing Dazed and Confused, and I think it was like something like, Dazed and Parhused. I mean, it's like it's in the neighborhood of Dazed and Confused. It might even be called just Dazed and Confused, but it's the exact, I mean, the whole thing is stolen by Zeppelin. But my main beef with Jimmy Page would be in the box set. He remastered the box set. It's a 4-disc box set of Zeppelin, the Presence box set. I think it's Presence. Is that what it's called? I don't know. No, it would just be Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, 4. I have no idea. You gonna Google it for me? Is that what you're doing? So the Zeppelin box set, they broke up Heartbreaker and Live and Love and Made from Zeppelin 2. Because it's something we've all, our whole lives, we've heard it on classic rock radio. Again, the guys who it was stolen from too. But it would go Heartbreaker, Heartbreaker, Heart. And it would go right into Live and Love and Made, which I'll spare you and I won't sing it. But on the box set, Heartbreaker ends and it goes into Communication Breakdown, I think, which is apt, quite frankly, because there's a fucking communication breakdown between Jimmy Page and his audience, because for fucking years, all of us, everyone in the world has been hearing fucking Heartbreaker going to Live and Love and Made, and then boom, you whip in Communication Breakdown. Although, maybe I gotta come around on Page. Maybe he did it as a little goof, like a little joke. Like he threw that into there on purpose. You don't think so? You don't think he's smart enough? Look, if this guy was smart enough to rip off every musician who's ever lived, and that's not even an exaggeration, he has stolen something from every musician who's ever. That's why when he did Kashmir with Puff Daddy for Godzilla. Think of that sentence for a second. When he did Kashmir with Puff Daddy for Godzilla, that's the most mediocre sentence in the history of entertainment. When he remade Kashmir with Puff Daddy for Godzilla, that is the most mediocre sentence in the history of recorded music. Maybe he didn't mind working with Puff, because Puff is another guy who fucking rapes everybody. Oh man. Yeah, Puff Daddy, he's the black rapping Jimmy Page. That's who he is, goddammit. And he doesn't even rap. He just kind of, he's just a mogul. Like, he's just a mogul. That's what Puff Daddy does. He's like, he's got fuck you money too, like Paris Hilton does. But he earned it by raping everybody. All right. Fuck. Do you feel that? Are we having an earthquake?
No. They're working on the building.
Yeah. All right. But okay, now are we having an earthquake?
Now we might be.
Yeah, we're moving, kiddo. That ain't fucking. That's not. If they're working on the roof and they're fucking vibrating your 4th floor apartment, there's trouble with this. Hold on a second. Jesus Christ.
Oh, fuck.
Do we? Fuck. How is this not stopped? Do we need to get in a doorway?
Probably.
Fuck. All right, hold on. We'll be back. Hold on. Just hit stop. Well, I mean, it's okay. It wasn't bad. It's just rolling, but I mean, you figured.
Hang on.
What?
KTLA. Holy shit. Earthquake. Okay, well, you're right.
Yeah, I told you. That's not. You think the people working in the building are going to shake your fucking house? I hope not.
Well,
it is a shitty building, but
they've kept me up all day.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so they don't have a whole lot about it other than big earthquake hits. That's
long,
awesome.
But that was long. That was like 20 seconds or
yeah,
so.
No,
Usually it isn't that long.
I hate it when the whole building rolls like that. It scares the shit out of me.
All right. Did you
Oh, well, no, we're still recording. Just put your headset back on.
You're fucking joking.
No, I never turned it off. I ran for the fucking door. Are you kidding me?
Dude.
Guess what? Lily and Mike are pussies. When there's an earthquake, we run for the door.
Well, no, we didn't. That's bullshit. We didn't run for the door. It was like.
I fucking did when I realized.
Well, my favorite part is when I'm like, "Is that an earthquake?" And you're just like, "No." And I'm moving in my chair. I'm like, dude, is that really?" And you're like, "No, I'm sure it's 4 Mexicans with a jackhammer." That's how shitty your building is. 4 Mexicans on the roof with a jackhammer are going to make the entire building sway? Give me a fucking break. But
I didn't notice it was an earthquake till I saw the tassel on the light start moving.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh shit, he's right."
Yeah, no kid. Well, I'm not lying. I mean, you felt it too, but that was like that's why I said, because usually it is right. All right, folks. Hi, I'm Mike. Stupid. Jesus. Well, should we cut that out? We should just fucking cut that out, right?
It's funny. I'll listen to it later. If it sounds horrible, we'll cut it out.
All right. Fuck. Wow. You know what? After the past 5 minutes, I would say that our show is not the Hold Steady. I would say it is absolutely right. We are not the Hold Steady, physically or mentally at this point. Oh wow! Hey folks, we just had an earthquake. That was odd. Because I've been in earthquakes before. I mean, we all have. You have, right? I mean, this is not your first, right? I told the story on here where I was in the movie theater, one hit, right? I told that story. Who cares? I'm not gonna go into what now. It's Earthquake Talk with Mike and Lily. It's fucking. We should turn the TV on and hear whose cups fell over, because what it was, I'll try to describe it, folks. I was sitting here and I started to move and I could feel it. And sometimes if a truck rumbles by or if Mexicans have a jackhammer, then apparently you can be moved indiscriminately. But I knew something was up because I kept going and then it started to get like I was starting to sway and my chair was moving. And that's why then Lily, well, you heard it. It happened while you were listening. Why am I describing it? Stupid.
You're not describing it.
Folks, listen, this is what happened. Oh, you know what? Here's what happened. Hit rewind. That's what happened. So I don't know if we might take that out. Who knows? If you're hearing me now, well, you'll hear this anyway. But unfortunately we kept recording during the earthquake, and as we went and stood in a doorway, and then the two of us are jammed in one doorway. That's not safe, right? Is that safe? That's not safe at all. You have enough doorways. I could have gotten in a different one. And again, California folks, we don't. Nobody reacts to earthquakes. We don't. I don't. The only reason I did was because this one went it seemed like 20 to 30 seconds. After 20, and it got long. It got more. It became more intense because it started out and we were just moving, and then we really started moving, and that's why I was like, should we go get in a doorway because it's becoming more intense as it goes on, and yeah, that's weird. I've been in Syria. I got thrown out of bed by an earthquake one time and thought there was a plane crash. Yeah. A long time ago, not Whittier, but it's a famous earthquake when I first moved here in 1990 or 89, 90. I'm down in Rochelle. Why is that funny?
I'll look it up on the.
I'm not kidding you. If you look it up.
On the IEDB, the Internet
Earthquake Database? Yeah.
Because it was a very famous earthquake.
Well, you trust me. In this part, here it was. It might have been the Northridge quake, like it was 89 or 90, and I was in bed. And I woke up on the floor, like it threw me out of bed onto the ground, and I woke up and fell down again. I was moving so much. I thought a plane crashed. And I think I've told it on here. But I'm sorry. You know what, folks? Forgive me. I'm going to repeat the earthquake tale since I just fucking wrote one out while you were listening. But yeah, and I stood up and fell down, and it was awesome. That was my first earthquake ever, and it was a monster. And I threw clothes on. Thankfully, I didn't run outside fucking naked. And ran over to our friend's house, and she's like, "Yeah, that was an earthquake." She's all calm. And that was the one where very famously Kent Shockneck, who's a local anchorman here, hid under the desk when an aftershock hit and has never lived it down. But yeah, that one threw me out of bed. And when it finished, you're just sitting on the ground and all the car alarms are going off. That's why I thought a plane had crashed. I was like, I didn't know what was happening. Thrown out of a deep sleep. And, again, folks, I had probably just gone to bed 15 minutes prior. So how deep could my sleep have been? But, yeah, this one was good. That was a good one.
It's creepy.
It is weird when it hits. When it first starts, you're just kind of like, like I said, when you get used to them in Southern California, you ride them out. You just go, oh, that's an earthquake. I should call my wife, huh? And she's probably okay. Well, I mean, fuck, we should look online and see, because that was a good one. I mean, I don't know where it hit. Do me a favor, keep looking on the internet. You're in charge.
Okay.
You're in charge of the internet. Christ, what were we talking about before God?
Moderate earthquake felt in downtown Los Angeles.
Moderate
Thank you, LA Times.
earthquake. All right. Moderate earthquake. It didn't seem moderate. Maybe it was his political views. Maybe that's why it. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Boy, oh boy. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll get a seismograph at some point. All right. Hey, folks, what was I talking about before God told me not to talk about that? The Lord himself decided to fucking shake the earth like a snow globe. But it's because I was.
Called Jimmy Page a thief.
That's what it was. Yeah, exactly. It was Satan. Satan sent the earthquake because I was carving up Jimmy Page. He's like, dude, that's part of the deal I got with Page. He gets my head in a briefcase and I send earthquakes and people piss him off. Page somehow his fucking ears perked up. He's like, oh, some guy slagging me on a podcast and over the pond? Boom, shaky shake, wakey wake. All right, we had an earthquake, folks. I don't.
I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah, neither do I. I'm lost now. I'm all right. We should. I don't want to go to a break because that seems like a stupid thing to do, like a real thing people would do. And why would I go to a break if we ran away in the middle of the goddamn podcast? You got to cut that out. I mean, no. You know what? People will hear it because it's like you hear the progression of the earthquake, and then hey, should we stand in a doorway maybe because it won't stop and it's getting more intense? Yeah. Okay. That was.
I thought maybe you made it happen just to make me laugh.
Yes. I'm very powerful. I can make the entire building shake.
Making the building shake.
No, that was.
I'm an idiot.
Why would that make you laugh? The threat of your building coming down would make you crack up?
I laugh in the face of scary situations.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd freak out.
I see. Are you scared of snakes?
A little, not a lot.
I like snakes. I don't mind snakes. I don't know. I was just talking to someone yesterday. I don't know why that. Because you know why? Because you said you're not scared. I had a friend she was like, oh, I'm not scared of snakes or whatever. And I said, oh, okay. Because I'm not either. One time I watched a whole football game with a python around my neck, for the entire game. For almost 3 hours. He just laid there.
Well, that's different than encountering one in the wild.
Certainly in the jungle, things would be very much different. But luckily, my trips to the rainforest have been curtailed due to my bank account being depleted. My yearly trips to Brazil to scout for different breeds of spider have fallen by the wayside. Oh man. No, I mean if you see a domestic snake, obviously they're. He's domestic. He had an apron on. Certainly this snake was domestic. He had a fucking hat on. All right. But my buddy had a pet snake, and I thought it was awesome, and so I put it on my neck, and he immediately just curled up, and he wrapped around my neck, and I watched a whole entire football game with him around my neck, and we used to catch snakes when we were kids. We would go to there was a wooded area. I grew up in Romeoville, Illinois, and part of the time I was in Romeoville. That's where my childhood was spent, my white trash youth. That was where Romeoville is where Brian Fishbeck fell through the ceiling, and my mom punched a neighbor. All right, so that's from year one, folks. Go ahead and buy it. So yeah, we used to catch snakes all the time, and we were out. We went out. Robbie Hoffman was this kid who lived next door to me. Robbie Hoffman, his mom's name was Georgia, and then after we got when we first got evicted, we wound up living in their garage for a while, and then we wound up getting a house. Yeah, believe me, after my grandparents kicked me out of the house. Anyway, again, year one. That's year two when I wanted to punch my grandpa. All right.
Yes.
God. It's a walk down memory lane, folks, because we just almost died. It wasn't that bad. But we used to catch snakes. So one time it was me and I think Lenny and Robbie Hoffman and Larry Swick and QJ, and we all went out looking for snakes. And here's how we would catch snakes. There was a drive-in called the Bel Air Drive-In, and I loved it in the daytime because we would go at night and we would all sit in one open truck and we would eat fucking. We went and saw Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger there. Like we saw the worst. It was funny. My mom, we would all like families would all go together, and all the kids would get popcorn, and the parents would get high. They would just get completely baked. And let us watch whatever the fucking movie was. And I saw the worst. I saw Heroes. I had to sit through Heroes with Henry Winkler and Sally Field there. Literally, all right, I'm 8 years old. But my mom wanted to go get high. And again, we didn't care. There was a swing set and popcorn. But we sat through Heroes where Henry Winkler is like a damaged Vietnam vet. And he has a relationship with Sally Field as he comes back and tries to reassimilate to society. I don't fucking know. All I know is I was able to get a fucking dreamsicle. That was it. That was the extent of my... But my mom, that's the thing, is they would all go to get high and sit there and watch the movie while we would run around and play at the park. But in the daytime, there were woods out behind of Bel Air, and we would go hunt for snakes. So it was me, like I said, me, QJ, Larry, and Lenny, and we... Here's how we would hunt for snakes, all right? We're very smart. First of all, we would wear shorts. We would want to expose our creamy white calves for any sort of dangerous reptile who may happen by. And we would walk into tall grass, risking chiggers and the like, and we would get sticks or a baseball bat, or Larry Swick, for some reason, had a golf club. I don't know how or why. Larry Swick did not have a dad, but he had a golf club. I don't know if it's some sad story where his father left him a putter to remember him by. I don't know what happened to Larry and his parents. All I know is Larry Swick was like the cool guy when we were growing up. He was dating Gina Formella in seventh grade, mind you. All right, I was in sixth grade and they were in seventh grade. He was dating Gina Formella, and then he broke up with her. And I swear to God, this is true. When he broke up with her, he gave her a pink slip. He wrote up a pink slip. And then he slapped her in the face with a glove. I'm not even lying. That fucking happened. He really did it. Because he did it at lunch in front of everybody. He slapped her in the face with a glove and gave her... He had lay pink slip. He wrote it was French. He wrote a fucking pink slip up. So Larry Swick, he was like you said, he was a cool guy. We liked him. And come on, how do you pull that move off in seventh grade and not be the cool guy? Then she knew Gina Formella was like tied in. There was this family. Everybody, there were all these. Remember the family of tough kids? All right, in your neighborhood, there was always the tough family that nobody wanted to mess with. When I went to Bolingbrook, eventually it was the Lovelaces, like Terry Lovelace and these other guys. They were the tough guys and you know why they were the tough guys? The Farrens too, Freddie Farren and the Lovelaces, because they were the guys who were like 24 and dating your high school classmates. That's why they were the tough guys. Once you realize it later, you're like, oh, that's why they're tough guys. They were all 10 years older than us. Of course they were tougher than us. So, but that's what happened with Larry Swick. He was dating Gina Formella, and then he broke up with her with the lay pink slip, and he slapped her in the face with the glove. And like a week later, after school, she knew Frank Machuda, the Machuda family. That was the tough guy in Rummyville when I was a kid. Because again, I'm in sixth grade, and Swick and those guys are in seventh. I mean, Machuda might have been like a junior in high school. You know what I mean? So, but he's infinitely older than us. And when I was a kid, here's the thing, you whippersnappers of today. When I was a kid, you were scared to death of the high schoolers. When you were in sixth grade, you were scared of people in high school because there was no lawsuit or no, hey, let's call the news. There was, hey, I'm going to get my shit kicked in, and then eventually I'll recover from that beating and hope they don't do it again. You know what I mean? We were scared of older people when I was a child. Nowadays, nobody takes a beating. Everybody's got a brother or a gun or a phone to call the cops. They're going to film somebody and put it on the goddamn news. Fuck all that. Take your beating. If you're young, you're just going to get the shit beat out of you until you get older, all right? And then when you get older, you can reverse the cycle. Get into high school and find some sixth grader to put your foot in his ass. Good luck for you. That's how you do it. That's how the world should work. But so she reported Larry, or she got the Machudas who were going to take care of business on Larry. And Larry came out of school, and they pulled up in their, like their fucking white Charger or whatever the fuck it was. It wasn't a Trans Am, but it was like a muscle car, like a white. And 4 guys got out. I'm not even kidding. This is like it's like a mob beatdown. 4 guys got out, and they grabbed Larry. He was wearing a gray sweatshirt. I'll never forget it. And they put him up against a fence, and they started yelling at him. And Gina got out of the car. And she said, that's him, and they put him up against the fence, and then Frank Machuda just beat the shit out of him, just started wailing on him, punching him, hitting him, and Larry turtled and took the shots, and it was body shots and face shots and stuff. And Frank Machuda hit him like 10 times. And Gina's going like, hit him. She's like yelling. It was like out of a goddamn movie. And all of us are there. We're all watching it because we all walk home from school. And we're watching Larry get his ass whipped, and they're beating him. And he never cried. He never yelled. He never did anything. And then finally they stopped hitting him, and they let him go. He never tried to fight back or anything. And he stood up, and he was bleeding. His nose was bleeding. It was on his gray sweatshirt. I'll never forget it. And he got up. And he just kind of looked up, and he looked at them, and he kind of sniffed, and he just walked down the street. Like, he didn't cry. He didn't yell for help. He took his beating like you would in a fucking, if you knew that you had it coming. And this is a 7th grader. A 7th grader who I, quite frankly, should have modeled my entire life after that fucking moment. But he did. He took his beating, took a beating like a man. Like it was I lived Bronx Tale for fucking 15 minutes. A car pulls up, 4 dudes get out. Gina's like, that's him. Put him up against the fence. One guy, Frank Machuda, beats the shit out of him. Just fucking wails on him in a neighborhood. This is the thing. If anybody looks out a window, we weren't in an alleyway. It wasn't dark. It was after school, children everywhere, and a car pulls up and grabs Larry Swick. 4 guys. Think about that now. That's on the goddamn news if that happens now. That shit doesn't happen these days. Like I said, everybody's got a goddamn, if that happens, by the time the 3rd punch lands, Gloria Allred shows up with a goddamn camera crew. I'm sorry. Although, quite frankly, Gloria Allred shows up when Formella gets hit with the glove. I mean, I gotta be honest. Allred's not gonna be on Swick's. Maybe William Kunstler shows up during the beating. All right? But fucking Swick, when Swick hits Formella with the glove, Allred shows up with a march on the goddamn school. William Kunstler shows up for the beating, and then he offers to get Larry like a new sweatshirt, and then he, cuts off a hunk of hair to dry his face.
You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and coming up, The Left Coast with Albert and Larry, riding the highways and byways of the American West.
It was my first time in Vegas.
Yes.
It was so pretty, the lights and everything.
Yeah.
Larry tried to teach me craps, but I just like playing slots. I couldn't get it.
Albert, it's so simple.
But it wasn't, I didn't get it.
You didn't even try.
But it says push and pull and red.
I will bash you with a globe!
I don't. Why you do these things? Why
I'm
do you
sorry.
treat me this way? We
You're
had
right.
a wonderful time in
You're
Las
right.
Vegas.
You're right. I'm sorry, Albert.
You're sorry?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, Spider, walk over here and finish painting me gold.
Experience the elegance. The Left Coast with Albert and Larry on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
All right.
5.9 earthquake, ladies and gentlemen, hits Los Angeles. 5.9. That's what we sat through. So now you don't think I'm a girl for saying we should go into a doorway. Because 5.9 is actually something to fucking brag about. It was located in the desert. I don't know. They always say, you know what?
Outside of Palm Springs.
Well, they said something like it was in the Bodega or Borrega Heights or whatever the fuck. I don't know. But whenever it's not in a city, I just say it was in the desert. Because that's all California is anyway. It's just a desert. And as you drive, sometimes the desert has buildings in it. Sometimes it doesn't. It's like Arizona. Arizona's the Sahara with hotels. That's it. That's all it is. And evil Mexican death squads, which is already starting. Did you see that? On the border of Arizona and Mexico, there was a shootout and like 20 people were killed in a fucking like drug execution. Dude, Mexican death squad's on their way, flying their armed gancitos. All right, folks, 5.9 earthquake, and that's because Lily's she's distracted. She keeps reading about it online. All right. Which is fine, 5.9. That's great. I'm happy we survived. I'm happy your building survived. If anything, that's a message for you that this building, this is a tough old broad, this building. We said it's the oldest building. It's so old. In fact, let me tell you this, folks. I show up today, and I go to walk in the building, and Lily has to come down and give me a parking pass. So then she has to hobble down like a fucking scientist from a creature feature movie in the 50s. Because she's got her cane and, her stiff leg, and she's, walking like Dr. Strangelove out of his chair. And, no, I'm sure, come on, you're lovely. Anyways, so, but of course, I'm a dick because I still make this poor crippled girl that I don't enjoy seeing walking, she brings me a parking pass. I could go pay to park somewhere, but no, I make her shuffle down the fucking stairs and bring me a goddamn parking pass. You saw the video last week. She had to get in the old elevator and fucking ride down. Yeah, you saw it. All right. You saw it. Nobody saw it. Like 5 people watched it, of course. I had a guy write me. He's like, how come nobody watches your YouTube videos? They're funny. I go, because nobody likes me. I mean, Seriously, dude, it's you. You and I like me. That's it. All right. So I made Lily shuffle down and bring me the parking pass, and then I set up my car, and I had to grab my cooler and my laptop because we had to set up a bunch of things today. And I go to walk upstairs, and as we're walking up the stairs to get into the oldest building in Hollywood, which was not ravaged by an earthquake later, although it should have been, right there on the porch was a bug, but it was like a bug that I've never seen. Like you know those roly-poly like armadillo-looking bugs? It looked like that, but it had wings. So it looked like it could curl into a ball and fly at you. I mean, it was just... It was some species that has not been seen on the evolutionary chart in centuries. But somehow it was shaken loose in this building by the construction that they were doing upstairs. I can't imagine what's downstairs now because of the earthquake. You know, now that I think about it, if the construction was enough to shake loose species from days gone by, I'm going to go downstairs and be a fucking stegosaurus sleeping on top of my car. What the fuck was trapped in the basement of this building? The goddamn earthquake has unleashed hell. That's what it's done. It's unleashed hell. You know what? This building it's the building in Ghostbusters. When fucking Dickless shuts off the grid and all the ghosts escape, boom, that's it. It's the Center for Paranormal Activity in Los Angeles. So that bug was crazy looking. And I pointed out to Lily, I'm like, look at this bug. She's like, oh, I hate bugs. I'm like, I got to be honest, I don't even know this is a bug. This could be like an old bird. Like it could be like a bird that has somehow evolved from insect into bird. It was fucking scary looking, folks. I might have to find it and kill it and keep it. I just get one of those, you know, yeah. I'm gonna find it, kill it, and keep it, and I'm just gonna be like a straight up nerd. I'm gonna have like a board at my house and put a pin in it until I find out exactly what it is. I'm like those dudes in Silence of the Lambs who fucking cut open the Death's Head moth for Clarice. A lot of Signs of the Lambs the last few weeks here. I liked that so much I was thinking about putting in the one-man show, that little run about the Get Shaved chick last week. I listened back to it, and I'm like, oh, that was actually kind of cool. That was neat. All right. And then a guy posted the Get Shaved thing on my page, and I'm wondering if, you know, do they just think I'm a fan? Those people are like, oh, look, we have a fan who likes shaved ice. I like shaved. I don't know if I'm so much in ISIS camp. Okay, so what the hell was I talking about? 5.9 earthquake. And then, oh yeah, Larry Swick. Larry Swick took the beating and then went home, and that was it. Bloody sweatshirt and all. Never told his parents. Well, never told his mom. I mean, his dad wasn't around. Again. How do I know? Maybe he laid in bed and told his putter. Maybe he laid in bed and told his golf club the story of the time Frank Machuda came and beat the shit out of him. He was held by 4 dudes. And by the way, what kind of pussies are me and my friends that we didn't jump in and save Larry? Now that I think about it, god damn it. But Machuda was huge. He had a car. He drove a car. Was it Machida? No, it was Machuda. You know why? Because Lyoto Machida is the fighter for the UFC. So I had never heard that name before, but now I hear Machuda, and I'm like, oh, I'm mixed up? No, it was definitely Frank Machuda. But, yeah, but we sat there and watched it. And then we walked home with him. You know what I mean? We walked home with Larry, and he fucking, you know, had snot and blood and stuff on his shirt and his face. But and we're like, are you okay? And he's just like, mm-hmm. Just nodding as his lips swell up. Guy took unanswered shots from Frank Machuda and fucking walked away. And then don't think he wasn't a legend after that. Because then even, you know, he comes to school like the next day. He's got a fucking black eye and a swollen lip. And like Gina Formella sits next to him at lunch. Like she's like, hi. Like she wants to still be his friend or go out with him. And kind of, he's like, just walk away. Get away from me. Oh, terrible. Formella, you whore. All right. But who can blame her? He slapped her in the face with a glove. Honestly, Gina's not the bad person here. Goddamn, that's hysterical. Shit you do in school is when you do dumb shit like that, come on. Did I ever tell a story about the time my buddy Dennis, we made him date Wendy Pontrelli in school? Is in 8th grade at Humphrey, Hubert Humphrey Middle School. All right. My buddy Dennis, all right, he's in 8th grade, and there's this girl, Wendy Pontrelli. And Wendy, I can say Wendy's last name. I can't say Dennis's. Because quite frankly, if Wendy Pontrelli has survived this long without fucking putting a knife in her neck, then we deserve to contact her. Because she was, you know, in 8th grade, Wendy Pontrelli was a misfit kid. I mean, she was Ali Sheedy from The Breakfast Club. You know what I mean? Like the kind of and again, when kids are that way, it's not their fault. It's obviously their parents' fault or their family's fault because something's going on where they're being raised incorrectly and they're not. I'm being serious. If you're a kid, because kids are nerds and they wind up doing whatever the fuck they're going to do. That's fine. Growing up, we had millions of guys that we thought were going to be Columbine kids. When you think about it, Columbine became Columbine later, but when we were kids, we had a bunch of kids we thought were threats and dangers to us. Wendy Pontrelli was never really a threat. She was just a kid who was a misfit. She was Ali Sheedy from the Breakfast Club. She was, short boy haircut and like medical shoes, like those, lifty shoes. And the kind of kid who's wearing a fucking parka in May, you know what I mean? Those kids who have no friends and they just bad breath and horrible teeth, and she wasn't attractive. And again, that's the parents' fault. The parents need to step in at that point. When you're a kid, you think back on that stuff. When I was a kid in 7th grade, there was a girl named Cornelia Blair. Did I ever tell this story? Cornelia Blair in 7th grade smelled bad. Like you could smell her in the next classroom bad. Like that kind of bad, really horrible, no hygiene at all. And when you're a girl in 7th grade, things are starting to happen with your body. So it's a lot of things. She was a veritable bouquet of horrible smells, okay? She wasn't just like, hey, you know what? I need to buy some Right Guard and everything will be fine. She was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should encase myself in carbonite like Han Solo and hope that this smell goes away. I mean, she was that kind of weird people walking by, clothespin on the nose, awkward eye contact. Holy shit, Cornelia's coming. Close the door. It's not helping. There's a crack at the bottom of the door and it's seeping in. Like her funk hung around like those ghosts that were friends with Casper, Like when Casper had those ghost friends and they had their names on their chests, like, Stumpy the ghost or whatever the fuck. Cornelia Blair had stink that manifested itself in a person shadow. Like you know what? When Cornelia Blair would walk, she had a Grim Reaper shadow like tiptoeing behind her of stink. Oh God, was it horrible. So she was just foul. So in 7th grade, nobody wanted to sit with her. Nobody wanted to be a lab partner with her. And in gym class, obviously she didn't shower after gym class, but she didn't even shower at home, anything. And then finally, it took Mrs. Bingham, who was a teacher, one of the first teachers I ever had a crush on, actually, in 7th grade. I got a thing for manly chicks. Like, it's weird. It's like, I don't even know how I wound up with Karen, who's like such a girly girl, because I have like any chick with like a dude face. Like, I think Leanne Rimes is crazy gorgeous. Leanne Rimes to me is crazy beautiful. Her face, I don't know what it is, but everybody else is just like, dude, she looks like a man turtle. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm on board, goddammit. Let me put my cock inside that shell because she is hot. Leanne Rimes to me is fucking... I don't know what it is about her face, but I just think she's beautiful. And everybody else thinks she just looks like a fucking reptile. All right. So I get a thing for so Mrs. Bingham was, of course, dude, she was like a gym teacher in 7th grade. I mean, she wasn't exactly putting on lipstick, all right? I mean... but for some reason, man, she did it for me. I had a thing for Mrs. Bingham. I'm like, whoa, I wanted to like talk to her and follow her around. And, she took it upon herself to take Cornelia Blair aside in health class one day and say, hey, and she gave her a private lesson on hygiene. It wasn't even like, hey, you need to fucking take a shower, idiot. She gave her own private class. She like took her aside and she told the rest of us to like study or whatever. And she took Cornelia aside and taught her about hygiene, like told her, probably gave her the speech of, you're a young woman now and your body is changing. I mean, because she was just a crazy, a hurricane of scents. I mean, like just, oh, dude, it's like I can only. It would be like if someone set a cemetery on fire. Like that's what she smelled like. All right, or a brothel. All right, maybe that's a better way to say it. If someone had set a brothel on fire, that's what Cornelia Blair smelled like. All right, so. Mrs. Bingham gave her the speech, and I remember seeing, we all knew, so we were like, ha ha ha, Cornelia's finally getting yelled at for being stinky or whatever, and to this day, I think about it. At the time, it didn't affect me, but now I can think about her looking and her face, and it registering with her what was being done, that she was being made an example of, and taken aside and told to do things that she had never even considered or thought of, and she just knew she was being singled out. And Mrs. Bingham, to her credit, she didn't want to upbraid her in front of the whole class. You smell. But it was becoming a distraction and a problem, so she actually had to take her aside. And rather than give her attention and punish her, she tried to do it in that way. But it didn't matter. I mean, no matter how you did it, it was still going to come off. Unless the only thing you could have done is Rambo'd her, dry shaved her, and fucking turn a fire hose on her. That's the only thing that it still would have been insulting and terrible. It would have gotten the job done and would have gotten the message across. And then she would have put on her fucking army jacket and walked right into the fucking woods, and nobody would have ever seen her again until she popped out and fucking, cut David Caruso's hamstrings. Will! Don't push it. That's what Cornelia Blair would have done. She would have hidden. We would all have been like, hey, it's okay. And then she would have popped out of the fucking mud and fucking strung us up with piano wire. Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe. Fucking Brian Dennehy would have had to call in fucking Richard Crenna. The whole thing would have gone bad. Cornelia Blair has been trained to eat things that would make a billy goat puke. All right. That's from goddamn Rambo. That's right. I can't wait for the Expendables. All right. So Cornelia, though, but I remember seeing her and she was so sad and so horribly sad at listening to this speech because she realized she probably knew and just didn't know what to do about it. And she of course, school class ended and then she didn't show up for like a week. I think a week, 10 days maybe. Like she didn't come to school. But then when she came back to school, she did not smell. She was fine. I don't know if it took 10 days to scrub the stink off of Cornelia Blair, now that I think about it. Because think about it, that's 5 school days, 2 weekend days, 3 more school days. Holy God. She just went home and took a fucking 10-day Silkwood shower and came back fresh as a Cornelia, fresh as a daisy. But that's the thing is it's like parents and people should help kids. They need to be the ones to step up and help these kids when they're all fucked up. So I blame the parents. And I blame the parents for Wendy Pontrelli because, like I said, she had like a club. Like I don't even think she had a club foot. She just wore big, clunky man shoes and like brown slacks. And she dressed like she was working at Subway, but she was an 8th grade girl. And the thing is, I don't even think Subway was invented when I was in 8th grade. So. She dressed like she was working in the Subway, perhaps. I don't know, but that outfit, like that weird bland, a lot of browns, and like I said, she had a short boy's haircut and dandruff, like evident dandruff on her clothes, and she sat alone and she kind of smelled funny and bad teeth, and so what we did was we decided to bet our friend Dennis that he couldn't go out with Wendy for a week.
Oh.
We wanted him to go out with her for a week. Now, and he's just like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, we need rules. Like, what do I have to do? So we set it up where it's like he didn't have to kiss her, he didn't have to do anything like that, but he had to sit with her every day at lunch. He had to he had to carry her books to and from class. He had to walk with her in the hallway and drop her off at her classroom and go to his class, and then he had to put his arm around her at lunch. Sometimes, like he had to put his arm around her and stuff. So all these rules were established, and all of us, it was me, and I think Tony Hall and Tony Damani and Jeff Biber, all of us, we put in $5 each, and we were all, which is, by the way, when you're in 8th grade, that is a king's ransom, $5. Like basically, it meant that I wouldn't be able to pay for lunch for a week. That was we bet him that he couldn't do it, and he's just like, yeah, I can do it. And we're like, all right, he can do it. You're going to do it. So the bet was that we were like, all right, you'll start next week. So the following Monday, we get to school, and he goes up to Wendy and he just starts talking to her, and he's making small talk with her. And when I say making small talk, he's talking, and she probably thinks her magical shoes are having a chat with her because she won't look up at all. She's staring down at clunky black shoes because she's not used to anybody speaking to her. She's a lone wolf, Wendy Pontrelli. And but now Dennis, who I don't think he was class president, but he was like really popular, and all of a sudden now he's like her friend, and then he takes her books from her to walk her to class, and like she doesn't want to give her books up, but he actually like takes them. He's like, no, I'm gonna carry your books, and so he takes her to class. He walks her to and from class. At lunch, he doesn't sit with us. He goes and he sits with her, and the whole time he's like trying to talk to her. And I don't even think she's talking to him. Like she's just tolerating his presence, and he's there. And we're trying not to laugh because we don't want to blow it. Although none of us want to pay him, quite frankly. But still, at the same time, it's so hilarious. We're willing to cough up the money to see him do it. So this goes through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He's walking her to class, and we were like, dude, you got to walk her home from school. And he's like, dude, that wasn't part of the bet. Nobody said, dude, it was back in the 80s, but still. So we restricted it to school grounds. So he's walking her to and from class. He's eating lunch with her. He puts his arm around her. And the first time he put his arm around her, he's sitting there at lunch and he's like talking, and then she's eating and they're eating. And then he just does that awkward, he like leans over and he puts his arm around her, and she doesn't even move. I thought she'd tense up or she'd freak out or she'd say something. Nope. She just keeps eating lunch. Just keep with a guy's arm around her to say, yeah, I guess this happens every day. Or maybe if I pretend that everything's the same, then I don't have to worry about this happening. So he's just sitting there awkwardly with his arm around her. And we're just like, we want to lose it. But sure enough, nothing happens. And it was awkward. You know what? I did that one time. Oh, boy, this is so horrible. I don't know. Why am I telling you? I don't know. Sophomore year. No, freshman year. I went to a football game. There was a girl, Shirley Huff. And I had a crush on her. And she had a bit of a reputation. I know, you know, it was my sophomore year. It was actually, you know what? It was my sophomore year, her freshman year. I guess that's why I thought that I should be able to put my arm around her. I don't know, but we were sitting at the football game, and oh my God, I awkwardly sitting next to her, and I put my arm around her. And it wasn't even like we had established that we liked one another. There was no even chemistry or rapport. It was like we were just talking, we sat down, and I just put my arm around, like this weird, like, and it wasn't even like the yawn in the arm. It was more like we were just sitting there, and it just clunk. And I mean, at the football game where everybody could see, and I got my arm around her, and she's just sitting there like she doesn't even know what to do, probably. And the thing is, like I said, she was probably even more experienced than I was, because I had only dated a couple girls in school, and like I said, there was one girl who said I was too fast because I had my hands under her shirt in like 5 seconds. And then there was Mary Ferguson, who I dated in school, who, I don't know why we get, whatever. You don't care about all this litany of old girlfriends. But let's put it this way. Shirley Huff did not fall under my spell. And I can, to this day, and I'm sure you have moments like this too, I think back to when I was 14 and that moment at the football game with my arm around her and her not even looking at me or returning any sort of warmth or pretending it was even nice, like not snuggling into me, or just she was still sitting there, and it was, you know what, it was Dennis and Pontrelli all over again. But this time I meant it. Like I actually thought I had a shot, and it was just I reached my arm across and clunk, and sat there, and I watched an awkward 5 minutes of the football game with my arm around Shirley, her not talking, me not talking, and then eventually I just peeled my arm back off of her shoulders, and we never spoke of it again until this moment. You wonder if everybody else has that same view on your awkwardness. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if Shirley ever thinks about the time that I put my arm around her in an awkward, fumbling way to hit on her, and it went away, and how creeped out she was. You know what I mean? It's like, because for me, it's devastating. Like, I can put myself in, even talking about it, I'm sweating. I'm sweating because I feel the weirdness of that moment when any rejection or any awkwardness, again, I don't know about you folks, but it's not dead and buried. I mean, I can freshly feel it as if it happened just this fucking minute. Any horrible thing that happened in my past, I can immediately go, yeah, oh fuck, I remember exactly how I felt. So I wonder if Pontrelli feels that way too about. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So Wendy puts his arm around her, and all week long, and so then it gets to be Friday, and he's just like, he's taunting us. He's like, dudes, this is it. This is the big day, and we're like, fuck, we don't want to pay him, and but we're gonna pay him at the end of the day. So he's gonna walk her to her bus. That was another reason why I didn't want to walk her home from school. She took the bus. So if he would have had to convince her not to take her bus. Let's think about that for a second. All week long, he's creepily like stalking her, and he's got his arm around her and weird. And then finally on Thursday, if he's like, "Hey, why do you not take the bus and walk home with me?" She's got to think she's dying, right? She has to think she's gonna wind up dead somewhere. There's no way she gets off the bus. So it was for the best that he didn't. We restricted it to school grounds, because she has to. Honestly, this guy's paid her no attention. All of a sudden, like the fourth day, he's like, "Hey, why don't you not take the bus and walk home with me?" Oh my God. She's going to wind up, her head's going to be in a sump pump somewhere. All right. So Friday comes, and we're like, oh, so the bottom line is he has to walk her to her bus at the end of the school day, and put her on the bus, and then we will all pay him at the end of the school day. So he's like, haha, he walks her to class, he sees her in the morning, he walks her to and from class, and he goes to lunch, and he goes and he sits down with her at lunch. And we're all watching again. We can't stop watching. And he's talking to her, and then she looks at him, and she starts talking to him, and he starts talking. And now the fact that she's even speaking to him is a big deal, all right? Because they haven't had any real animated conversations. So she starts talking to him and talking and talking, and then he's trying to talk, but she just won't. She won't stop talking and talking and talking. And then she gets up and walks away, and he's sitting there at the table. And she walks away and goes and disappears, like leaves the lunchroom. And we're looking at him, and we don't want to go over there because we don't want to blow it, but we wait and see if she comes back. And he gets up. He's got this look on his face, and he walks over, And he sits down at our table. And we go, no, dude, no. You got to walk her. What did she go to the nurse? Like, what? We're trying to figure out what she did. He goes, she broke up with me. And we said, what? He said, and again, this breaks your heart. She told him that she thought he was really nice. And that it was very nice having lunch with him and him carrying her books. But she thought that she didn't want that to be... she said that she didn't want him to do those things for her anymore. That's what it was. I don't need you to do these things for me anymore. And she got up and walked out. And I mean, I just... Like I said, I'm a horrible person. All right, because we were the catalysts behind all this. And I wonder if she remembers this moment as... Did she really think she was going out with Dennis that whole week? And then she actually broke up with him? Or did she finally... catch our eye as we watched them eat lunch together and say to herself, you know what, this is fucking humiliating and I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, she didn't even know the bed aspect of it, probably. She might have just thought he was put up to it. But he comes over and he's like, yeah, she broke up with me. And we just like, what are you talking about? And yeah, she said she didn't want me to do these things for her anymore. It was nice. It was nice being with me all week. And so we're all like, oh. And then we crack up. I mean, like, it took like 2 minutes for it to register, and then we're just like, stupid. And we're like, and he's like, well, you should at least, you got to pay me like half or whatever, because, but he knows it's not happening, and he's just being a smartass at this point. And to his credit, he wasn't like mad or fought it or anything. He was just like, yeah, she broke up with me. Like, experiment failed. So, but again, that's not his fault. That's not our fault. That's that's Pontrelli's parents' fault. I blame her for this entire mess. If she's talking to a doctor now or lying on a therapist's couch, this is their fault. If they didn't dress her up like a goddamn sandwich artist and put her in clubfoot shoes, this would have never been an issue. She would have assimilated. Because then eventually we all went to high school, and she was in high school, and she was just as fucking weird, man. Same thing, carrying 8 different textbooks to every class and wearing a parka in fucking June, a week before you graduate. Just, what are you, getting a head start on winter, Pontrelli? Take the goddamn coat off. But I often wondered, like, if she, like, when we all, because we went to high school, and then, Dennis got to be class president, and he was like, we were, again, it means absolutely nothing now, but we were in my class, like the class of 84, we were the guys who ran the class of 84. Ooh, so fucking what? But we were like the popular guys, you know what I mean? And but we had so many misfits. So I'm saying, did she look at Dennis then and go, he used to be my boyfriend, that guy? But we had so many misfits growing up, man. We had there was a guy, Bill Johnson. Did I tell Bill Johnson's story? Jesus Christ. Bill Johnson was a guy. He was another guy who was just he was a big heavy kid, but his parents got him thick Coke bottle glasses, and he had a fucking brush cut. He looked like a 1950s gym teacher, but he was in my high school. You know what I mean? And he was the kid. I swear to God, I told this story. We would say hi to him all the time. Like, we would. Remember, like, when I told the story about 7-Eleven, and every day I'd say to the guy, "How you doing, sir? What's going on, sir?" And finally he goes, "Fucked." So my original taste of that was me and Mike Scott used to torment Bill Johnson. Like, we would see Bill Johnson in the hallway and be like, "Bill Johnson," and we'd walk away. Or in class, we'd be like, "Hey, Bill Johnson." Hey, he was in our sewing class. I had a sewing class. And we were in sewing class, and Bill Johnson was in there. And Bill Johnson was the kind of guy who would, he would turn in his assignments on time, and everything would be fine. But he had his, he would sew. And he'd be like, "Really, Bill Johnson is sewing?" And me and Mike Scott would make fun of him. And he had his shirt buttoned all the way up, you know what I mean? And pocket protector, the whole straight up central casting fucking nerd outfit. You know who he looked like? He looked like Daniel Schneider in Better Off Dead. "Gee, sorry your mom blew up, Ricky." When he was Ricky, like that big fat nerd guy with like those kind of clothes. That's what Bill Johnson looked like. But it didn't matter. Mike Scott and I would, like, he would be sitting at a table, and me and Mike Scott would sit on either side of him. We'd go, "Bill Johnson, how are you today?" And we always called him Bill Johnson. He was never Bill. He was never Billy. It was never all like, "Ha ha, Billy." We'd just be like, "Bill Johnson. How's Bill Johnson today?" And he would just say, "All right." He talked with his like teeth clenched. Like, it was really, And exactly, he was ready to murder us, I think, basically. It was the whole deal. If there was going to be Columbine, the only thing I'd worry about is Bill. He wouldn't be quick enough. He couldn't pull it all off. And quite frankly, he couldn't find a trench coat to fit him because Bill was a big man. But Bill was a huge dude. But Mike Scott and I we were just mean to him. Bill Johnson. And whenever anything would come up in class, and our sewing teacher would be like, "Who wants to go next?" We'd go, "Bill Johnson." We would always try to volunteer him. All right. So that was crazy in school, but we never saw Bill Johnson out of school. Again, it was the same deal where we'd go to McDonald's, we'd go to the football games, the back roads, never see Bill Johnson. So then one day, after a football game, we're at McDonald's. Then we go over to, there was an arcade, and I fucking, for the life of me, can't remember the name of it, because there was Zips. Zips was an arcade that was further up the street. And then there was a restaurant called Sundancers, and then they put in an arcade in Bolingbrook, and we went over to the arcade one day after a football game, and we're in there. And I'm not lying to you. This is true. I swear to God. We walk in. Bill Johnson is in the arcade, which makes sense. All right, it's a video games. It's basically got a tractor beam for nerds, and I'm sure, I don't know how Bill his huge countenance got sucked in there, but he did. But here's the thing: Bill Johnson is in there. All right, in the arcade. He's playing Galaga. Okay, he's playing Galaga. And he's with his friends. And by his friends, I mean Bill Johnson is with his family. Bill Johnson is playing Galaga in this arcade with his mom and dad and a little sister. And I don't know if it was just another guy who might have been a cousin or a friend of the family. And I'm not lying to you. He's playing Galaga. And as he's playing, he's he's doing very well. Bill's very good at Galaga because two things he was good at. Bill Johnson, he was good at sewing, and he was good at Galaga. So he's playing Galaga, and his family is there. And as he's shooting targets and exploding, they're clapping. They're clapping for Bill. They're rooting for Bill Johnson to be good at Galaga, and they're almost like, "Yay!" I picture it where he's at home and the only thing that interests him is Galaga, and finally his parents go, "Oh, fuck, if that's what he likes." They couldn't get him to do football or tennis, and there's no sewing team at my school, unfortunately. But he's there playing Galaga, and they're clapping. They're around. They're like, "Yay!" Clapping, literally clapping for him playing Galaga. And Mike Scott are just like, "What the hell? That's the crazy." Because we can't even believe we're seeing Bill Johnson out of school. It would be like seeing Mr. Toludo or one of my teachers out at the store when you'd always freak out. You'd be like, oh my God, you have outdoor clothes? Put those on. Jesus, you're wearing shorts. Oh my God, get dressed. Weirdo, Mr. Shoob, put on a goddamn jacket. So it would always be awkward and weird when you'd see your teachers anywhere. But to see Bill Johnson was also crazy. He was like Halley's nerd. You only see him out every 7 years, and he streaks by on a Galaga ship. It was crazy seeing him. So and we couldn't even approach him. We were like, "Oh, what should we do? Should we go out and talk to him? We got to talk to him, right? No, we can't do that. His family's there."
Jesus.
So instead, we walk up and we start watching him, and we see he's really good at Galaga. So he's kind of winning us over. We're all like, "Oh, this is working for Bill," and so we just start clapping. We're good there, and we go, "Come on, Bill Johnson! Come on, Bill Johnson!" We start rooting for him, and I picture him being so crestfallen at hearing our voices, the tormentors of his youth have shown up in his fortress of solitude. It's his. That's where he goes to escape. He's at Galaga with his family. He's at this arcade. He's excited, and we show up and we go, "Bill Johnson, come on, Bill Johnson! Still with the Bill Johnson. His family's there." And I'm not kidding you. He just stops playing, puts his hands at his sides, and walks out of the arcade.
No.
Bails. That's how much he hated us. He bails on Galaga. A game in progress, a record game. He could have set this amazing record. There could have been a party, a T-shirt, a hat. I don't know what the fuck. But instead, he's playing, and we're like, "Bill Johnson, come on, Bill Johnson!" And he kind of what? And he looks back and he sees us. He just stops playing, puts his hands at his sides, and walks out. And his family goes, "Billy, Bill," and they kind of go, "Bill," and he won't even come back in. And we're just standing there. And then, of course, Mike Scott jumps in and starts playing the fucking Galaga game. And then he died. He dies immediately. And we're like, "Oh, he was really good," because he had the high score. And so, you know what? You could put in your initials, and we just put in B and then underline J. Because it made us laugh that not only was it Bill Johnson, we're being true to Bill Johnson, but blowjob. Because we're children. And so he left. He left with his family. They just walked out. And I'm like, oh, man. So then again, you think about it now, and I'm like, he must have hated us so much, hated us, that the sound of our voices drove him to leave his favorite place in the world and take his family with him. God damn, how much do you hate me? Imagine if he hears this show. It would just be this tormenting, oh, no. Come on, Bill Johnson, subscribe to my show. So that's on Saturday. So we felt bad. Like, we felt, because we were really, it could have been a bonding moment. Like, if he would have said, hey, guys, and we would have said, hey, Bill Johnson, you're good at Galaga, and then we would all be friends. But he hated us so much he bailed. So then we see him Monday, we go to sewing class, and we walk in, and Bill's there early, as he always is. He's always the first. Again, everybody else gets there right when the bell goes off and runs to their seats. Bill Johnson gets from class to class. He's the first guy there, and he sits down, and he's not moving. He's doing his thing. We walk in as the bell goes off, and we sit down on either side of Bill Johnson. And I don't know if Mike Scott felt a little bold because of what had happened the Saturday, but now he feels that we know Bill on a different level. So he's actually going to incorporate something different into our Bill Johnson routine. And he sits next to him, I sit next to him, and he goes, hey, Bill Johnson! And he puts his hand on him. He's never touched Bill Johnson ever in his life. None of us has ever laid hands on Bill Johnson. It's always been, hey, Bill Johnson! And he's just kind of ignored us and been like, whatever. But this time, finally, Mike Scott breaks the fourth wall with Bill Johnson. Bill Johnson's at the table, and Mike Scott goes, hey, Bill Johnson! Clap, grabs his shoulder. Bill Johnson moves faster than I've ever seen a man that big move, and wheels his head just like it's on a goddamn swivel, and just goes, go to hell, you fucking bastard. Completely clenched teeth, nose to nose with Mike Scott, whips his head around right in his face. Go to hell, you fucking bastard. Doesn't even open his mouth to talk. That's how much contempt Bill Johnson has for us. He doesn't even want us to see his goddamn tongue in action. He just closes it up with fucking straight up teeth and lips. He fucking ventriloquists us. God damn it. He Edgar Bergen's a fucking salvo insult right at us. Go to hell, you fucking bastard. Whoa! And again, I always talk about TV coming to life. You talk about the fucking TV coming to life. Bill Johnson's never even addressed us or talked to us, let alone looked at us. He fucking wheels on Mike Scott face to face. Go to hell, you fucking bastard. Teeth clenched. Mike Scott's just like, whoa! And both of us are like, we think it's funny, but it's also scary. And again, Bill's a giant dude. Like, I mean, I don't know. He might have nerd strength. Like, I don't know if they have nerd strength or not. He might fucking just freak out on us. And the last thing I need is to get a fucking protractor jammed into my carotid artery. So we just we stand up, like, gracefully back away from Bill Johnson and go take our seats in the back of the room again where we fucking throw needles at people. Because sewing class was not one to take seriously. And so that's what I'm saying, man. It's like those. I wonder if those people have those moments now where they remember that shit, where they remember what you think Bill Johnson remembers. Because I guess it all just came rushing into him right there at that point. Because it's like, you ruined me at the Fortress of Solitude. I'm not going to take this anymore, man. He fucking de-snidered up and just, yeah, fuck you. Go to hell, you fucking bastard. It was like the meanest ventriloquist you've ever seen in your life. And so Mike and I went and sat in the back and never bothered Bill Johnson again. But that's, it's like you got those kids. I'm sure everybody's got those fucking kids that you went to school with. Yeah, I got tons. I actually have more. But I can't. Where are we at?
We're in an hour, 8 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we got enough show here. We got we did an hour and 8 minutes. We had a fucking earthquake, a natural disaster. We should have quit then. That's the thing. What was that, like 15 minutes in or something? And now we've got an hour over that. God told us 15 minutes into the show, dude, stop doing this show. And yet we continued. We went ahead and added a whole bonus hour on top of a natural disaster, a 5.9 earthquake. Or 5.4. You looked it up, 5.4 earthquake. All right. So yeah, exactly. It's going down and down. But yeah, so I got all these other kids, but I mean, then we'd get, Jesus, we've pushed it. All right, we've done way too much bonus show at this point. The Lord himself said, stop doing it. And yet I continued. So we'll have to talk about the other kids that were a seminal part of my growing up much later. But everybody had those kids growing up. And let's be honest, I'm pretty sure for a lot of people, I'm that kid that they went to school with. You know, when you think about it, I'm sure somewhere, maybe not on a podcast, maybe just in a doctor's office, or maybe just in a diary somewhere, like John Doe's diary with all the fucking crazy hieroglyphics and stuff. Bill Johnson somewhere has written stories about the time that we fucking accosted him in the building and ran him out of his Galaga haze. You got to figure his parents are with him just to keep him from mass murdering the entire city, right? Bill Johnson was like Billy Mummy in the Wish It Into the Cornfield episode in the Twilight Zone. He was playing Galaga, and they had to go with him and just go, "Oh, yay! You're so good at Galaga, Bill. Don't kill us, please. Don't kill us." That's why it was like Bill and his parents, and then that little girl, and then there was that one guy. That was Satan. That was the devil, who Bill had a pact with, and his pact was to make sure that his parents appreciated the one thing he was good at, and that was fucking Galaga. That's the only reason they fucking hung out with him. And for me, for talking about it and making fun of all these people my whole life, I'm going to wind up in hell. It's so funny. I'm going to wind up in hell. I'm just going to show up, and it's just going to be Satan, Jimmy Page, and Bill Johnson just standing there going, "Hey, we've been expecting you. Meet our friend the Mud Shark." Yay! You guys can get me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can get all of these links at the MikeSchmidtComedy.com site on the Hey You Guys Can Get Me At page. You can follow our friend Lily at Twitter.com/LilyVonStupp. You can also find her at Twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to write her a note, a very personal note, a heartfelt note, if you want to check on her after the earthquake, because she panicked, I'm not going to lie to you folks. I was very virile and strong, and she ran away like a lady. If you want to check with her, you can write her a note at lily@burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com/40-year-old boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Stop pointing. All right. Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, or the 3 clubs. I always mess it up. Hey, Lily Von Stupp.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, who's going to be at the show this week?
It's our Triple Xmas in July show.
Triple Xmas in July.
Yes, we're having our Christmas show, and we've got a bunch of great dancers, and we have Madame Tutu from Las Vegas.
Madame Tutu from Las Vegas, is that a dancer person or a...
It's a hostess person.
That's a hostess. She's hosting the show.
She hosts and sings.
All right.
And we have Orchid May from Denver.
Orchid May from Denver. So you went ahead and got some winter talent to come in for the Triple Xmas in July. Denver, very cold, very chilly. All right, well, good. So, and are you going to be there?
I'm actually dancing to Harry Connick Jr.'s "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow."
See, that's awesome. So Lily will be there dancing with her as long as the leg holds out. She's going to dance as long as the leg holds out, folks. So again, each dance could be her last. You need to come to this show. So come watch her dance to Harry Connick's "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow." Are you a Harry Connick person?
I am.
I don't. I'm not.
I like his music. I don't care for him as an actor.
I didn't care for him much as an actor either, I will say. And I'm not a standards guy, so that's fine. Whatever he does is great. Everybody enjoys it, and that's good. My wife loves him, thinks he's gorgeous. But then he was on American Idol, and he was trying so hard on the last American Idol, the final one this year, where he was a judge. And so much so that everybody's like, oh, he should be a judge. And I'm like, wow, he was repulsive. I mean, he looked like he came in off a 3-day bender. My TV smelled of gin watching him talk. It was brutal. Because you know what? There are good-looking people, and then when they stop being good-looking, it kind of gets a little off. It looks like if you threw water on a painting. You know what I mean? It starts to run a little bit or a little melty. All right, so that's what he looked like to me. And he didn't exactly have gin blossoms, but I mean, he just looked like a drinker to me. Some people just look like they need a shower. All right, so Harry Connick Jr. looks like he needs a shower. That's what I say. So please come to the Triple Xmas in July. Will there be a special code word?
No.
No code word?
No code word for Christmas.
All right.
I'm being a Scrooge.
Oh, Scrooge? Would that be the code word? No code word. All right, so no code word for Christmas in July, Triple Xmas in July. Hot bodies, there will be hot ladies there as well?
Yes.
All right, so please, folks, come out and bring your mistletoe and put it on your headband and make out with these chicks. because that'll happen. Most of the times they want to kiss you. I've been to these shows. Most of the times, it's funny. There's dancing and then there's kissing. If the women aren't dancing, they're kissing somebody. So please come and get in line. And remember also, if you listen to the show and you show up, smack Lily in the ass and say, "Hey, great show." Always. That's always the way to go. Because she just wants to get smacked in the ass. She really did. Honestly, don't even say great show. Don't even mention the podcast. Just smack her in the ass and she'll be thrilled. So come on out to the Triple Xmas in July show at the 3 clubs this Monday at 10 o'clock p.m., always at 10 o'clock p.m. And follow Lily at twitter.com/MNTs, and you'll get all sorts of information about the show. And also be a Facebook friend. And also listen to the Burlesque podcast. And I don't know. It's all these things that you do for you. It's very important. We need to get you followers and friends and people like that. I want to plug this. I want to tell you folks to go listen to Paul Goebel's 200th podcast. I recorded it in 1999, and it is finally airing. So go ahead and listen to Paul Goebel's podcast. It's David Koechner, the very funny David Koechner. And unfortunately, I don't know. It's one of the women from Garfunkel and Oates. Ricky from Garfunkel and Oates. I don't know Ricky that well, so I don't know her name, but I will tell you that she was great on the show. And you can find her naked on the internet, by the way. I did not know this. I didn't know anything about Garfunkel and Oates, and I go to the show, and I looked at her, and I go, she looks kind of familiar. Oh, well, whatever. And then they're talking to her in the interview, and it turns out she's like, yeah, I did Last House on the Left. And I went, wait a minute, is she the bad girl in Last House on the Left? And I immediately went home and Googled her and saw her breasts, which was great, because I saw her sing a song in person, and then I went and saw her, and then it's on cable, so I TiVoed it, and I watched her walk around with her top off. It was great. I'm like, hey, I did a show with her, kind of. And she didn't know me or see me or have anything to do with me, but that's okay. I was in the same room as those breasts they were clad in a shirt. I wish that shirt was shorn, but unfortunately, she was clad in a shirt when I saw them. So there you go. So it's how I feel when I see you when you take your top off. I'm like, hey, I'm in a room with her all the time with the shirt on. And now, so go listen to Goebel's 200th podcast, and I'm on it too. I'm on it at the end. I did a good job. I won't lie. I listened to it and I enjoyed it. And Paul and I did good. Jim Bruce has the funniest line in the whole thing, so go listen to Jim. But yeah, it's fun. Go listen to Paul Goebel's 200th podcast. That's the Paul Goebel Show. Go download it now, and subscribe. Listen to all of them. Don't just listen to the 200th. That'd be mean. Because I'm on it a bunch. I want to thank some people here, folks. I will go ahead and tell you. Oh, well, should I plug for? I'll finish plugging. Remember that San Francisco is upcoming, rapidly approaching, August 20th and 21st at the Dark Room Theater. Tickets are on sale through Brown Paper Tickets. There will be a link on my Facebook page for the 40-Year-Old Boy. Success is not an option. The show that I'm doing. It's still taking shape. I think I have an ending, and we're working backwards, and then there's different structures and formats, and everything is still in play, folks. But I will tell you again, it's August 20th and 21st at the Darkroom Theater in San Francisco, and I will also tell you that I am definitely going to be performing here in Los Angeles. I don't know the date yet. I've been out looking at theaters and trying to find one that doesn't bend me over and jam a mud shark up my ass. So as soon as I can find that, as soon as I can find a theater that doesn't make me want to look at them and go to hell, you fucking bastard, then I will have a date where I can go ahead and perform. So, and it will be a small room, and unfortunately I will have to charge because I got to pay and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I hope you can come out. So that'll be at some point in the coming weeks. I will let you know exactly when and where it's going to be. Want to remind you folks that the Zazzle store is still open. Go ahead and pick up Zazzle merchandise if you can or will. Again, you know what? Pick some up for Christmas in July. Why wouldn't you do that? It's the gift-giving season, so for Triple Xmas in July, why not go buy a nice mug or a mouse pad or possibly a stripple shirt and wear your stripple shirt to the show? And I will tell you this, anybody who wears a stripple shirt to the Monday Night Teas gets a Lily French kiss. Lily will French kiss you. Blowjob. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. What are you, the chick on Twitter? I'll get to that in a second. All right. So yeah. All right. So, you said it. Lily bumped it up to blowjob. I went French kiss. But anybody who wears a stripple shirt is gonna get a Hummer from Lily right there at the Monday Night Tea. So please wear your stripple shirt. Pick it up. And again, Lily, because Lily not only gets money from the shirt sale, but she also gets the pleasure of giving you a blowjob. So you said it. Dude, you went that route. I was gonna go. No, not a joke. Please don't joke. You cannot joke about blowjobs. What are you talking about? No. Well, that's like, all right, because Lily, I told Lily there's this porn star, this Dutch porn star on Twitter, who has promised all of her followers a blowjob if Netherlands wins the World Cup. If Holland wins the World Cup, she's offering free blowjob, one free blow. I guess one free. I mean, I guess you don't get a 10-pack. At the time, she had like 3,000 followers, and she's like, "Hey, if you follow me, I will give you a free blowjob." And she wanted to get and now it's Team Blowjob. She actually had to bring in like 3 other porn stars to form Team Blowjob, which sounds like the fucking greatest superhero organization I've ever heard of in my life. Fuck you, Justice League. Fuck you, Avengers. Team Blowjob is here to save the day. So I want to tell you guys that that show's coming up, and there'll be shows coming up here, and then the Zazzle store, and also you can buy the download sets at the Mike Schmidt Joe Business page. You can buy the Year 1, Year 2, or the Super Angry Guy Gene Happy Good Time Yelling combo. Go ahead and pick up the download set, and also please remember that you can donate to the show. If you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a little Schmitty with his pocket out. Go fill that pocket with your love and friendship, and also some money. We would appreciate it, all of us. Everybody here at Mike Schmidt Incorporated would certainly appreciate it. And I want to thank some people. I have to thank Alex from Montana. I won't be saying last names, but I'll say Alex from Montana is a listener. And Alex sent me what I'm going to call a Montana care package in the mail. It's a bunch of cool stuff. I will say part of it, he sent jerky from Montana. He sent me like bison jerky. And I mean, look, you're cool. I'm cool. We're all cool. We're all friends. I even kind of like jerky. I'm not eating something somebody mailed me in the goddamn mail. I mean, that's a nice gesture, and I appreciate it very much. But all I know is it's going to be some weird psilocybin fucking jerky. He's put some crazy experimental hypnotizing thing on it. I'm going to eat it and fucking trip. I don't need to trip on jerky. No thanks. So it was pleasant and nice, and I enjoyed it. And the other things that you sent in the Montana care package were all very useful. But I can tell you that I will not be eating the jerky. But thank you. I don't want to turn up dead with a throat full of half-chewed bison meat. Who knows? He might have poisoned. Maybe I said something he didn't like on this goddamn show, and he's coming after me. I have no idea. But thank you, Alex, for thinking of me. And I want to thank Matt in Ohio as well. Matt has sent me a Mr. Blonde action figure. In the box and everything like that. So that was really cool. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Matt. I get a huge box at the mail. I'm like, what could be in here? This is awesome. And because again, it's Triple Xmas in July for me too. I go to my P.O. box, there's stuff in there, and sure enough, I get it out, I open up, there's a Mr. Blonde figure. So that was great. So I was really excited about that. So thank you very much, Matt in Ohio, and Alex in Montana for your nice gifts and the things that you've sent me. And you guys want the P.O. box where you can send me even just a note or a hello or anything, go ahead and write me, and I'll give you the P.O. box. I'm not going to give it out over here, because as I keep giving Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com, I realize that the people who want me to buy Viagra have corrupted my address, and I'm getting at least 15 spam emails a day from people who want to sell me Viagra for cheap, because apparently, again, everybody out there thinks I can't get it up. I don't know why. Because they figure, you know what, if he could get it up, he wouldn't have to give his email address so many goddamn times and beg for friendship. So go remember all that stuff and follow me on Twitter, follow Lee on Twitter, and follow this porn star on Twitter if you want to get a free blowjob. I followed. I'm not going to lie to you. I went immediately, and because when she started, it was like 3,000, and then by the time I got there was like I think 11,000, and I was like, well, fuck, clink clink. I'm hoping we're not going in order because her jaw's going to be pretty fucking tired by the time she gets to me. Although it is Team BJ, so maybe there's like 5 of them involved, and they tag off. And my favorite part is she's like holding to it like it's real. Like she actually sent out on Twitter, she's like, hey, if Holland wins the World Cup on Sunday, Monday I will send out information of how to get your free blowjob. And and quite frankly, what if she's serious about it? What if she's like, yeah, I'm definitely involved, but you need to fly to Holland to collect on it because she knows nobody will ever fly to Holland. But, well, I mean, that's the thing, is that you got to figure at least 800 people would fly to Holland. So her and Team BJ, what is that? That's an afternoon. 4 girls. 4 girls, 800 dudes, 200 blowjobs each, done. And you've still, you film, by the way, I think by the time all of them are done blowing everybody that they have to blow, you could fit the World Cup into their mouth. Go look at the shape of the World Cup trophy. It's like this long cylinder with a huge bulbous top. I bet she could just kneel there and you could insert the World Cup right into her mouth and she'd just be like, yeah, that's fine. Go orange. Because that's what Holland is. They're like the big orange or whatever the fuck. I don't know. And look, we're all excited about Holland versus Spain. And I love you, Spain. I love Barcelona and Madrid. I love Spanish rice. I love everything there is to know about your country. But for free blowjob, fuck that. I might kneecap David Villa. I might have to find him and kneecap him just to make sure Holland wins so I can get my free blowjob. I've never been to Europe. You know what? This is what it took to get me to Europe. It's not the history or the brilliant countryside, my wife's desire to go to France, none of that. But hold on a second. Free blowjob waiting for me in Holland? Where do I buy that fucking plane ticket? I am in. I mean, and the whole time she blows me, I am blowing a vuvuzela. She can blow me and I will blow. Why do I spit out this random bullshit that nobody fucking cares about? I am peddling obscenity. I am going to get a whole fucking army of you people, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to listen to me and then do nothing for an entire fucking week. I can't be trusted. Don't you people know this? It was like the Back to the Future of suck. I don't want to have a boner in somebody else's pants. I need to shoot up heroin and jog. Hey, ass fuck, are you listening to anything that I'm saying to you? Fuck, somebody's got to shut that old guy up. And I'm like, fuck you! I'm not a potato! I'm a goddamn cantaloupe! Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike.